All right, man. Grand Rising to you beautiful people. Oh, there we go. How you guys doing this morning, man? It's the New Black Wall Street Book Club. We are back and ready to rock and roll. I am still putting in my subtitles, and hopefully you guys are ready to rock and roll, man. Thanks so much for joining us, man. We are going to be beginning a new book. It's a comic book. It's a short story fable type thing. It's called Tales of the Immortals, and it covers basically 7 virtues. So we may not do all of them, but we'll definitely probably at least get through Friday, maybe Saturday, and then we'll kick off a new book next week. So this just kind of get you started, get you in the flow of what we're doing with the New Black Wall Street Book Club. I will decide on Wednesday what we'll be reading next. It's either going to be a Black Titan or it's going to be why should white guys have all of the fun? So I'll probably put a poll up with the 3 books that I'm considering, and then let you guys decide, and then we will roll into that. But of course, I'm also don't have my intro and stuff ready to go yet, and we're working on that. So we're gonna have to go old school. Y'all know what time it is. Mr. DJ hit the music.
New Black Wall Street Book Club. Evan Jefferson, brother, much love. Educating, elevating, because in knowledge is the power and we'll never give it up. Literature's for the masses. Where to put your money down, now how to watch your assets. Yeah, uplifting others is a passion. My brother Evan, he will turn it into action. New Black Wall Street Book Club. You should come read with us. Yeah, we comprehend and discuss. Yeah, all just come together. There's no limit for us. Here comes your host, New Black Wall Street. Evan, take it away. New Black Wall Street Book Club. New Black Wall Street Book Club.
All right, beautiful people, man. Welcome to the New Black Wall Street Book Club, where black folk do read. You put it in a book, and we absolutely will find it. I'm your host, ERGJ, a certified financial educator, CEO of ERGJ Enterprises and the Black Bazaar, and also founder of the Black Billionaires Club. Black Billionaires Club is is basically what it says, man. It's a place where we connect with other brothers and sisters who are serious about building wealth and building business. And if you want to get around like-minded people like that, well, go ahead and join the club. You can find us by simply going to the website, theblackbillionairesclub.com, theblackbillionairesclub.com. Now, if you are an author, I do have special places for you as well. We do feature authors as well. And if you happen to have written a book that has anything to do with wealth, finance, business, or personal development, I love to talk to you about what you have written. And it could be for adults or for kids. And because that's the main focus of what I do: finance, money, mindset, things like that. I'd love to talk to you about, hopefully having your book on our show. We feature Black authors who've written great quality content, and we want to make sure that we don't lose sight of those who are bringing literature, right? Because readers are leaders, bringing literature to our forefront. Hit the like button, share button if you care. Like button, share button if you care. Today, we are going to be starting our journey with Tales of the Immortals, Origins, Tales of the Immortals. And so just give you a quick backdrop of what this is about, and then we'll get right into it. I don't want to take up too much time. It's 7 immortals, reading from the back. 7 immortals, each representing a different virtue, must unite in order to help save the world from chaos. The nefarious observers have descended into the planet and threatened to enslave humanity for eons. Only the harmonizing balance of principles that the immortals possess can prevent this from happening. In this Origins volume, come and learn the amazing origin stories for each immortal character and travel through the incredible world of swords and scales. Truth, justice, wisdom, strength, courage, faith, and knowledge are all represented individually by each character. The greatest realization in the virtues are within, and the journey to unlock them. And so we are going to begin our journey into this book. What's going on, Ms. Thompson? How are you? Thanks so much for joining. Anthony Sim, DFW is in the house. Thanks so much for joining as well. We are going to hop into this thing. Again, that's Swords and Scales. I might want to give you guys a website as well. I think I put it in the description, but I'll find it here and give you guys as well. If you want to go acquire this book for yourself or for, family, friends, kids, anything like that. And I figured we could do some cool stuff with, a comic book because, adults love comics and kids love comics too. So there's a website there. I'll put that thing in the comments as well, so you guys can click on it if you need to do that. We're going to go right into this thing, man. I don't want to be taking up too much of your time. here today. Tales of the Immortals origins. And we're going to read the short story about a character named Baba Gua. Baba Gua. Baba Gua, who is the mage. The mage. And we'll see that here. Again, if you got a book that you've written and you want us to feature it here on the show, make sure you inbox us at ERGJ Enterprises on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. We'll talk to you about your book. I also have a bookstore too, by the way, so I can help sell your book too. I'm pretty good at that. Anyway, Baba Gua, the mage, from Tales of the Immortals, Origins, written by some black folk, two brothers. Let's read. It is simply known as the prime realm of Ngolubwe, or as the prime realm, or Ngolubwe. It is here that it is said that the first immortal supreme beings first stepped a foreign foot into the physical world and laid the foundations of civilization. The chief immortal constructed a staircase made of ether, and all the prime gods ascended to the earth. From the elements gathered at Ngolubwe, the immortals formed the 6 prime orbs. All power was placed into the individual orbs, which were then scattered far and wide to the other realms to ensure that the powers of the universe were always shared by all, and each distinctive region brought forth goodness to its own uniqueness. It is also here that the legend of Baba Gua begins. He was the 4th son of a tall height mage or medicine man, and his mother was the clan matriarch. His birth had been foretold as being of great importance to their country. The tall people were diminutive in stature and gifted in many areas of science, magic, and healing. They gave to the world the knowledge of the herbs of the forest and for the healing of most ailments. This land was also called the Rainbow Bridge, and the tall people were its keepers. They claimed to have existed in the land since the beginning of time itself. Their most famous legend depicts how their first ancestors descended upon the tallest mountain, Mount Kawa, in the form of a great vulture. When the vulture plunged itself into the pristine pools of water within the mountain, it is said that the first man and woman then emerged from the cavern lake. For many aeons, even until present, Mount Kawa has remained as the most important location for the tall people. From the mountains of Taw spread out into the lush valleys below and began the practices of land cultivation and terraforming. They also developed the sciences of writing, mathematics, and social customs. Perfect order existed amongst their clan, and merriment, dancing, and theatrical expression were integral to life among the Tall Heights. It is said that the Tall were among the first peoples, and they even walked amongst the mortal prime beings. They were favored by the gods for their benevolent nature and for all the productive and beneficial things that derive from their earth's natural resources. When other races and clans began to appear in the realm of the Tall were already a high developed society, and thus they taught all the younger races and clans the ways of the earth and the knowledge of the cycles of time. This is evidenced by the fact that all present languages contain tall words or phrases. The Kuroku clan appeared first after the Tall and were of medium height but typically heavy set. They were very dark-skinned and worked the ore mines to develop the science of smithing and smelting. The Sikini people came next and they were of medium build and many varied hues of skin. They became masters of the hunt and trade meats and hides in the Kuroku in exchange for and hides with Kuroku in exchange for spear tips and arrowheads. Then the Ratusi clan appeared. They were tall, attractive people with reddish-brown skin tones. The Ratusi excelled in agriculture and lawmaking, which led to the sophistication of their societies. They also developed the first military and became masters of different fighting styles. The tall people were valued and highly esteemed by the younger races, so much so that it was considered a high honor and privilege to have a tall scribe to serve as a mentor or teacher to a child. The most powerful tall mages were summoned to live amongst the most powerful rulers, and many were responsible for the architectural development of the great temples and buildings. And then the great wars began. The tall people kept themselves content with the provisions of the forest and never placed a higher value on material possessions over spiritual development and character. For this reason, they had been able to resolve conflicts before they began and maintain a harmonious and peaceful existence among themselves and with others. This was not so for the younger races and clans. They developed a quarrelsome nature, perhaps due to periodic scarcity of resource and a large appetites for physical goods such as grain, leather, and gold. This created competition amongst the clans, and each battling for dominance over the gold mines. The tall elders sent delegations to each of the provinces pleading for peace and a return to their original ways of living in harmony with the environment and cosmos. But it was too late. The clan leaders had already become obsessed with power and control. The first wars were fought over control of the gold mines and were very bloody. The war ended when a Tallite mage caused a great wonder to appear in the skies. A great cloud caused it to rain down across the entire realm, which brought forth and revealed great riches for each of the clans. With prosperity exceeding in all the lands and wars ceasing for a long time, however, the peace would not last forever. The Ratusi clan continued to excel in matters of diplomacy and law. Their influence spread over the Shikini clan, and the two peoples formed a confederacy. The Activo were a mysterious people who of a medium and tall stature, also with varying skin tones, but the dominant trait was that of a golden tone hue. The Activo were endowed with the internal ability to master the animals of the sky and the field. They were reputed to have the ability to see through the eyes of hawks and other senses of the wild beasts. The Ratusi had set their sights on dominance in the realm, and Activo's skills were coveted by the Ratusi lords. The first emissaries to the Activo villages high in the forested hills of the east were sent to offer the Ratusi form of government in exchange for 3 Activo tutors who would come to the Ratusi capital to teach. The Activo were not interested in the Ratusi government nor their way of life and rejected the delegates in a manner which the arrogant Ratusi leaders deemed disrespectful. The Activo clan mother, Polymoli, knew that Ratusi would not accept a no to their offer and would soon descend upon their country with force in their lead and subjugation in their wake. She sought help from the Kuroku, who were the reclusive and avoided extended contact with the Ratusi except in matters of trade. The Kuroku Blacksmith Guild chieftain soon issued a statement to the Ratusi lords that the Kuroku would cease manufacturing and trading and famed spears and blades, so that the Ratusi, if they invaded the Activo lands, to the Ratusi if they invaded Activo lands. I'm going to take a little break here. Oh, okay. We only got 3 more pages. And then here's a little picture of, I guess, of a mage here. Again, we're reading the book, Tales of the Immortals Origins, and we're learning about a mage, one of the mages. So I guess we're going to find out which virtue we're talking about today. What's going on? What's going on, Grand Rising? See, Mr. Scott Robert Plant is in the house. Quiet now is the resource. Good morning. See, Nard Brown is in the house, man. Absolutely, man. Hey, we're going to keep doing it each and every day, brother. Thanks so much. All right, the Ratusi, physically stood taller than all the other races and had now convinced themselves of their own superiority to stand over all the other clans. With the Activo and Kuroku on one side and Ratusi and Shikini on the other, the stage was set for war in the land once more. The tall people wept for their forest villages for the bloodshed that was about to take place. They also wept for the lost respect the realm had once had for the tall people's ways of harmony and justice. Battles were fought. Countrysides were ravaged and the water became polluted. For the first time, pestilence and plagues descended upon Ngolubwe, and the tall were without a known cure. Yet it was again a tall height mage that summoned great power to end the bloody, unceasing wars. The chief tall mage, Ntupu, gathered unto himself all the adept and neophytes within their clan in the great cavern lake from which they claimed origin. The great mage instructed them that there would be darkness for 7 days. The gathered crowd of medicine men and women gasped at the thought. When the light appeared again, the mage told them they were to appear each of them at an assigned province and would henceforth dwell among that clan as resident teachers and guides. Only a remnant of the tall will remain in the forest of their nativity and preserve the old knowledge. The time had come, and Tupu explained, for the tall to integrate into all the clans and bring about a lasting peace and balance. Having said all this, he plunged himself into the cavern lake, taking sacred runes with him, and the lake began to surge in upheaval and tumult. The tall mages fled from the mountain, and high above the fields of battle, a terrible explosion caused the sunlight to be blotted out for exactly 7 days. During the long night, the soldiers of the warring tribes began having strange dreams, and most lost their spirit to fight, fearing that the wrath of the great supreme being was upon them. The clan leaders were forced to withdraw to their respective countries and with resources spent and morale very low. When the darkness subsided and the dawn of light shone forth again after 7 days, there mysteriously appeared before all the lords of all the clans of tall height magi. Each mage presented the ancestral seal of the prime order that all inhabitants of the land were bound to acknowledge. The mages were accepted into each of the societies, and an age of enlightenment and prosperity had dawned into the land once more. The chief Ratusi lord, still vexed with the failure of conquest, was sitting in his council chamber when a young mage by the name of Ngosu Intepu appeared before him in the most mystically sublime way. This young mage was taken into the heart of the capital of the most dominant people in the realm and tasked with establishing the sacred teachings there. He would become known as Baba Gua. His fame soon spread throughout the land as he served the Ratusi kingdom for many generations under several rulers. The Ratusi diet of meat and spice shortened their lifespan, and Gua's adherence to a vegetarian diet gave him long life. By the time the warrior king Zosa ascended to the throne, Baba Gua had already served as viceroy for 3 preceding rulers, and his works and deeds were immortalized into legend. Zosa had set his sights upon domination of the realm, like his forefathers had long before him. For generations, the Magi had guided the mating schedules of royals to ensure that DNA would be influenced by only the most balanced cosmic forces. But the blood of the Ratusi was strong, and it was only a matter of time before the battle-thirsty warriors of old walked the land once more. Gua was not interested in power, as he was in the accumulation of knowledge and practice. Any and all subjects interested him, and he would not give rest until a worthy subject was mastered. During his service under Lord Sonkosi, Sosa's father, he made several notable advancements that increased the wealth and prominence of the Ratusi country. He invented a form of writing that enabled his country to grow rich due to accurate records in matters of commerce. One of Baba Gua's most incredible accomplishments was that he taught an island inhabited of primates how to organize itself and communicate through writing to humans. Unfortunately, neighboring humans, fearful of the challenge of intelligent primates, set fire to the island, killing all but one highly intelligent baboon, whom Gua took in as his personal companion. During the Second Realm Wars, a terrible disease had broke out, and none of the wise men and women were able to produce a cure for this new terrible scourge. The disease had persisted amongst some of the shepherd settlements, which caused fear among the Ratusi elites that the disease would spread to their cities. Baba Gua had been secretly converting the old ancient knowledge of earth science and techniques into inventive technological devices. He invented a machine that converted the essence of herbs into crystalline resins that were powerfully potent in small amounts of time. The natural process of conversion that usually took months, even years to complete, was now ready in days. Baba Gua was able, with the help of the cadre of young disciples, to stem the tide of the plague and relief return to the land. And here's another picture, I guess, of Baba Gua looking over the land. Pretty cool. Guess y'all can see that somewhat. All right, let's finish this up. Baba Gua. So every 7 years, all the Tawa Magi would meet at Mount Kawa and discuss the affairs of their countries of service. They would examine the progression of the stars and deliberate on whether they were on track for the fulfillment of the prophecy of peace. For failure would only lead to the fulfillment of the prophecy of war. At the latest meeting, some of the Magi were concerned with Baba Gua's latest achievements. They felt that he was giving an imperialist Ratusi too many advantages over other clans and possibly making them impossible to resist in the near future. Gua calmly reminded the mages that all good knowledge is available to all, and that he was keeping a close eye on how his technologies were being used. Some of the town council of Magi were still skeptical and felt Gua was influenced by the riches and opulent character of the Ratusi kingdom. The chief tall mage, Mama Susi, also reminded ancient mages that Nguase had been chosen for this mission, and the great ancestors did not deliberate lightly in the choice. King Sosa soon appointed Baba Gua as chief magistrate, making him second in command in the kingdom. Gua was deeply troubled by the king's decision because on the surface it appeared to be a position of prestige and power. But as magistrate, Baba Gua would be responsible for legitimizing the capital pursuits of the military-minded Lord Sosa. There was relative peace in the land at this time, and Gua convinced Sosa to allow him 3 years to complete a study of the immortal breath technique before he assumed the role of chief magistrate. Baba Gua knew that things were coming to a head. The prospect of war loomed as the spread of greed and power surged among the Ratusi lords, chiefs, and privateers. The heaviest of burdens lay on the small gray-haired man's shoulders. Nguase Intepu had been born to be one who would avert the third and most devastating realm war. The Tal predicted that even with all their most potent powers, they would not be able to stop a third war once it started. With this, Baba Gul plunged himself into the study and practice of the immortal breath form. The knowledge of how to stop the coming war was not on any of the traverse realms. No, this knowledge was in the immortal realm. And Baba Gul is the only one who could attain it and save the land and its inhabitants from self-destruction. And that is okay, I get it. I get it now. So this is origin. So I'd imagine in maybe in later volumes, this is it's like X-Men origins, like how they got started. So this is interesting. So later on will probably be some story about Baba Gul going and getting the learning the immortal breath form and saving this country or this place from self-destruction. And it's very interesting, man. What kind of parallels do you guys see or hear in what we just read, just from the origin of Baba Gul, as it relates to his development, his rise to power, the things that he dealt with, even from the standpoint of it? Look, I saw some evolution that took place from the first inhabitants of the land to the second, to the third, to the fourth, to the fifth. And it seems like as evolution took place and as technology arose, we started having more and more greed and more getting away from the natural order of things in the beginning. And that's kind of what we see now. There's a way that we used to do things back when we were, in clans or tribes, and maybe even for some of you from places that you were born at or came from. But now as we look at society now, it's greed, it's power, it's about money, power, and sex, right? And so this is seems to be a good parallel about evolution, but then also about the few who will adhere to the ways of old, or adhere to tradition, or adhere to humanity, adhere to I guess you could say a natural, nature, and bring peace to the land. So great question, I guess, to ask from this section here. Are you a troublemaker, or are you a peacemaker? Are you a troublemaker, or are you a peacemaker? What's going on with your brother Lowry is in the house. Miss Jennifer is in the house. Thanks so much. So yeah, that is our first little short story. Again, this is the book from Swords and Scales called Tales of the Immortals Origin. And you can see some, I guess you could say some Afrocentric words. I'm not quite sure what language that is. I don't know if I was speaking Swahili or what, but those words probably mean something. And so what I'm going to do, eventually I'm going to have the authors come on, because they'll be able to talk to us a little bit more about some of the language that's in here that was hard for me to pronounce, but I know it means something, and I don't know what it means. So I'll be looking forward to hearing about that. Tomorrow we'll pick up and learn about the origin of a character called Seraphim. So I'm wondering what virtue this little warrior, black warrior, is going to take place. It looks like it's a woman warrior, Seraphim. And I'll show you guys a couple of pictures of Seraphim as we look at that. She look like she be giving people the business. She look like she be giving people the business. She on horseback. Look at that. This Seraphim. I don't know if y'all can see that very well. So we're gonna find out more about, learn about Seraphim and her origin tomorrow. And again, if this is something that you guys may be interested in picking up and supporting, some black men have written a comic book. You can go and check out swordsandscales.com. You can pick up the book there, swordsandscales.com. All right, beautiful people, I want to say thanks so much for tuning in today to the New Black Wall Street Book Club, where black folk do read. You put in a book, we absolutely will find it. I'm your host, ERGJ, certified financial educator, and I want you guys to remember this, that it takes a village. It starts with us. Let's build as we climb together. We all we got, beautiful people. Matter of fact, we all we need. Thank God, that's more than enough. Until next episode, you know what time it is. Mr. DJ, hit the music.
New black, new. It's the New Black Wall Street Book Club.
New Black Wall Street.
With your host, Evan Jefferson.
Evan Jefferson.
It's time for us to go.
Yeah.
Now, you ain't got a little computer, but we encourage you to get out there
Go.
and learn
Out there.
and apply all the things you learn at the New Black Wall Street Book Club. Book Club. Yeah.
The New Black Wall Street.
The New Black Wall Street.